right. So, Jeffrey, here's another great topic for problem or symptom.
Okay.
My sales pipeline is empty.
I have an international expert on the phone right now waiting to give us the answer to my pipeline is empty.
That's right. He's come all the way from Sydney, Australia. Tony Hughes is a keynote speaker, sales improvement consultant, and best-selling author and award-winning blogger.
An all-around guy with an accent. Please welcome the great Tony J. Hughes. What's the J stand for, Tony?
Hey, Jeffrey. Hey, Jen. And hey, Doug in the background there. The J stands for John. I've been laughing my head off listening to you guys. I love your show.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
We're
glad you're here.
Yeah, you happen to be an excellent judge, even though you are a foreigner, and everyone knows that by your accent. How does it compare? Have you been to America lately?
Yeah, I have. I was just in Boston a couple of weeks ago. I go to the US all the time. And when I was 25, I actually jumped on a plane from Sydney, flew to LAX, and started my own company in San Francisco. I had a grand plan of being a millionaire by the time I was 30. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen, and I should have heeded the wisdom of my flying instructor, who told me that confidence is the feeling you normally have just before you understand the situation. So, but I didn't make a lot of money, but I certainly learned a lot. And when I came back to Australia from the USA, the big lesson I got from the States, being an entrepreneur, was you got to know how to sell. So that was what caused me to go and get a job in selling. And I've basically been in sales or management my whole life and absolutely love it.
You sound like a pretty old bastard. How long have you been in sales?
Man, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah,
35 years.
Wow.
35 years. It's a long time.
It is a long time.
Hey, to answer your guys' question, if someone doesn't have enough pipeline, it is absolutely a symptom, not a problem. There's a whole bunch of problems that they've got to confront if they want to solve that one.
I have to tell you that the reason you're on the show is that I found your stuff somewhere. I can't remember where that. Huh?
LinkedIn?
Might have been LinkedIn.
Yeah,
with LinkedIn.
Your article.
The article that you published on my sales pipeline. And I actually, when I looked at it at very first, I thought you're full of shit because you were calling it a problem. I go, no, it's a symptom. Then, like an idiot, I read the next line and realized that you also knew that it was a symptom. So that ruined that article.
Reading?
Yeah, I was going to trash you. I already had 1,000 words written on what.
Both you and Jen are both authors as well. No, so you guys both know you got to have a headline that hooks someone interest, right?
That's
so you
very true.
Right, you hooked us.
Well, you didn't hook me. You pissed me off. So you had a deeper hook.
That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, that is the same thing with you.
You'll note that our producer, when he is on fire, will inject himself at any moment. So just be careful of what you say, Tony.
He's usually on fire.
I was actually talking to Doug before the call. He even knows all of the Australian colloquialisms. It was great.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Like cool. Foster's is Australian for beer? Does he know that one?
Actually, the ironic thing is nobody drinks Foster's in Australia. It's just an export brand. It's like no one drives a Lexus in Japan. I don't know whether you know this, but Lexus actually stands for Luxury Export US.
Oh my gosh!
I never knew that.
That's really cool.
That's crazy.
I love that.
So did he start the conversation with "G'day"?
No, he didn't. But he said he was going to give. He said he was going to give me a ring.
Oh yeah, that is pretty Australian.
Yeah.
Not like call you or whatever. Okay, so let's get back to it. So, pipeline is empty. Symptom.
Yeah, talk to us about why you wrote the article to begin with.
Well, the number one problem, it's a symptom, but the number one problem every salesperson in the world will say that they have. I said it was the biggest problem in 2017, but it was and forever will be. The problem is that they just don't have enough pipeline. People think that they can sell even if they're not that good. They just complain to their boss that there's not enough leads, there's not enough pipe. And it's a symptom, not a problem. The thing that people need to do first is they need to accept responsibility for creating their own pipe. There's been a lot of very dangerous stuff out there for years with social selling, where people think if I just build a strong brand, if I just start publishing some insights, out of the ether, these leads will come to me. And the other thing that's been going on in more larger enterprise selling, corporate selling, is the rise of inside sales. So people have got these sales development reps that are meant to get leads. All businesses, big or small, should be doing something with marketing to get web to lead going. But if you look at all of those things combined, they never provide enough leads for people to be able to go make their numbers. So the first thing is they've got to own the responsibility of generating their own pipe. And in life, we see what we're looking for. So whether it's referrals, the shortest path to revenue, the highest probability of a sale is absolutely a referral. And it amazes me how many people just don't ask. I've been doing a lot of work recently with a large law firm, and to try and get lawyers and partners within big firms to accept the fact that we all sell is a challenge in itself. But it's really simple when you've done something for a client. Say, hey, really enjoyed working on that matter for you and solving that problem. I've got some capacity at the moment. How else could we be helping you? Who else inside the organization should I be talking to? It's not a hard sell. It's just a case of really having eyes for the problem. So people need to own it and just accept that we see what we're looking for. So they've got to be laser focused is really the first thing.
Do lawyers' jokes make their way over to Australia?
Yeah, they do. We have lots and lots of great lawyer jokes. You know, it's like the guy that had a problem, but he only had $500 to solve it. So he goes to a lawyer and says, look, I've got this problem, but I've only got $500. Can I ask you 2 questions for that? And the lawyer reaches over and grabs the $500 and says, what's your second question?
I love that. That's so.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, you guys are pretty funny down there.
I've got a very strange sense of humor. I'm actually the most read person in LinkedIn worldwide on B2B selling. A lot of my articles, I try to be the Monty Python of selling, but I really worry that very, very few people get my sense of humor. Yeah, I think you guys do.
Yeah, don't worry, we get it.
Yeah,
Well,
we
yeah.
get it, or you wouldn't be on our show.
Exactly.
And we like it.
Exactly. Otherwise,
So
you'd be down under.
How do you become the most read author on LinkedIn? That's pretty
That's the
cool.
second time I've heard you brag about that.
No, but that's
Well-
major. I want to know, and I think our listeners do too. How do you do that? How do you become the most read author?
Well, it's kind of crazy. I made the decision 2.5 years ago to get serious about building my brand. And I published an original article, an original blog post every day for 7 months, even while I was on vacation in Vietnam with my family. It was all kind of insane, but you've just got to be incredibly consistent.
Yep.
LinkedIn's changing a lot. It's very difficult to build following. No one knows how the algorithms really work. It continues to change. But for whatever reason, LinkedIn put me into their author program that they ran for a while. But the thing is, if you genuinely provide insights and right for your audience, and always avoid doing self-promotion or trying to sell anything, then if you really respect your readers, then you can build following. So, and the big thing I'm writing about at the moment is this concept of combo prospecting. This the way of solving the problem people have got. They've got to get high levels of really effective activity to break through the white wall of noise that every buyer faces when they go to work every day. So, that's the big thing I'm writing about at the moment.
And is there a title to that?
Yeah, so AMACOM, the American Management Association, have just signed me as an author. So the book's going to be called Combo Prospecting. I've got to have the transcript to them in 60 days' time. So I'm up till about 2 a.m. writing every day at the moment, and it's going to be published in January. This year, it'll be available all through the US, Europe, Asia Pacific, and globally. So it's the number one problem that people talk about. The moment I write and tell people they've got to pick up the damn phone, things just go ballistic. One of the updates I published, quoting Jeb Blount, who I've got a huge amount of respect for, his book Fanatical Prospecting is a must-read for everybody.
He's a good friend.
We're big fans of Jeb.
He's a real good friend of ours.
Yeah.
All people in the business who have their shit together are friends of ours.
That's good. I'm glad I made the list.
No, you didn't make the list, but all other people who.
Oh boy.
Funny. But But the really funny thing is I actually just published an update quoting that he'd left the same voicemail message for a CEO for over 40 days until the guy rang him back. He ended up selling $2.5 million deal, which is proof he helped him, not harassed him.
Yeah.
But the incredible thing is I had nearly 1 million views on that post in LinkedIn. People went crazy. They were telling me that I should go to jail. It's harassment. And I was saying, dude, it wasn't even me. But the moment you tell a salesperson, pick up the damn phone and stop sitting in social and stop doing endless research, at the end of the day, you've got to build a human connection with somebody. So the purpose of research, the purpose of all the other things is to get a conversation going. But the moment you tell them that, people really, really don't like it.
Yeah. When we have more time, we'll talk a little bit offline. You might want my package that I offer to authors literally globally that I'll help you by writing the forward, but you'd have to cough it up a little bit to be able to make that happen.
I'm interested.
Okay. I don't want to make a sale right here on Sell or Die, but if you'd like me to send me
But that is a good way to do it, right? We bring people on the show and interview them and then sell.
No, we'll have a conversation offline, but I'll send you an invoice right after we're done.
Well, let's see what your objection handling skills are like. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize you were a cheap bastard and didn't want to sell any books. My objection, my ability to overcome a barrier or to at least lower a barrier is a lot different than the other guys, because most of the time the salesperson doesn't have any balls and won't ask the right question or make the right statement to create engagement. Most of the time when there's a price is too high or some other kind of I got to think about it or meet other people, it becomes a distance builder rather than an engagement response. And I try to deepen the engagement at that point in time. If the guy says he's got a meeting to go to, I said, great, can I go?
Look, I absolutely agree. And one of the things I teach the people that I work with is for everybody in sales, there's going to be maybe 6 or 7 common objections that they get. Yep. This sounds counterintuitive, but my view is that objections are for amateurs. We need to proactively deal with objections. So, for example, I work with some people in the recruiting industry, and a common objection they'll get is, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to meet with you. If I met with every recruiter that called me, I'd never get any work done.
Yep.
If you got a CV, send it. I'm too busy. What I've said is you've got to make the too busy objection or excuse. You've got to make that the reason to meet. So you've got to have a narrative. So the big thing I talk about is that one of the biggest problems people have in not being able to build pipeline, one of the reasons they fear jumping on the phone is they're like a deer in the headlights when the person actually answers the phone call, when they finally get a live human on the other end.
Right, they don't know what to say.
And what we need is a narrative. We've got to stop talking. We've got to stop talking about us and what we do and how we do it. And instead of that, we've got to talk about why a conversation should matter for them in their world. All business is done at the speed of trust. No business is ever done unless you can build trust. And the first way you do it is you do a little bit of research and you talk about what's important to them. It's really the first thing. So most people just have a really poor narrative. And we just need to earn the right to engage them in conversation. So,
the actual deal, though, is to earn their trust or to have any kind of trust whatsoever, you have to have some kind of social platform because the person's going to Google you. And
it's true, and you and I know that 74%, because all made up statistics.
Very good, Tony.
Wow,
Huh?
someone's done his research. I love that.
The really funny thing is it's close to 74%, but about 3/4 of buyers, especially in B2B.
That would be 75%. Let's just shave it a little bit, and it comes down to my number.
74.9%. But what happens is the majority of buyers will research us online before they engage. So
of course, before the guy even walks in the room.
Who doesn't? Yeah. Are they living under a rock?
Well, salespeople used to think that they were anonymous, that they lived in a vacuum someplace, and when they walked in the room, they owned it. Meanwhile, the guy's already figured out who this turkey is one way or the other, and it's totally crazy.
That's totally crazy.
Yeah, totally crazy.
Look, it's true. And for these guys in recruiting, the thing I say is if you run outreach with a hiring manager, they'll research you online. When they see your LinkedIn profile, you want to have a post that says, investing 20 minutes with me will save you 12 hours and dramatically de-risk the hiring process because the risk is all in cultural fit. It's not in the other obvious things. So if you write a post like that, evidence it, show some insights, now you're dealing with an objection in advance. Hopefully it will never even come up with the guy.
However, evidence with insight is trumped, and I don't mean to use that in a positive or negative way, is trumped by testimonials. If I had an employer who took one of my people and said, this guy did the research, he did all the hiring, pre-hiring, it's the best employee we've ever had, you get 5 of those, I don't need to say a thing. I don't need to say one thing.
And this is a scary thought when I actually have a look at your picture right now, Jeffrey, but the truth is we all sell naked today, right? Anybody can scratch past the facade.
That's not that happens to be a beautiful picture, Tony. It's like,
not for me. Not for me.
That was not part of his homework.
And as a guest, you might want to let me do the jokes.
So
in closing,
yes.
All right. Hey, Tony, it has been amazing having you on our show.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
The best place to find me is inside LinkedIn, and please follow what I blog. You can also find me at tonyhughes.com.au. That's my speaker website. And my sales methodology website is rsvpselling.com. And just really encourage people, own prospecting. 2 hours a day, time block it, adopt combos, voicemail, email, SMS, get on the phone to people, social. Don't hide behind social media and don't depend on other people to spoon feed your leads.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask is, did you write that article just off the top of your head, or did you do any kind of research?
Well, I'm always doing research, and a lot of my research is in my other blog posts. So I publish tons of content, and if someone wants to build following on platforms like LinkedIn or even Facebook, the thing is not to really publish statements and point of views and articles. It's try to start conversations. You want to get people engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I write is based on the research that I'm doing real time inside LinkedIn. I get amazing feedback from people telling me what works and doesn't work. It's incredible.
Earlier in the show, you said to build an audience, you wrote an article a day for how many days?
For 7 months, if you can believe this. Every single day in my life, I published an article.
Way to
So
go. How many words?
people-
About how many words?
Well, people will tell you out there you need to go for about 400 words. The ironic thing is I found that long form posting actually created greater engagement. We all know that you need a headline that hooks interest. You've got to tell the reader why the thing's important for them to read up front. You've got to add visual images. Typically 7 images is the right kind of number of images to add. You can add video as well. But I personally believe salespeople should not focus on publishing original content. Most salespeople can't write is the thing that I discovered is really the first problem. And then they start doing it in core selling time, what Jeb Blount calls the golden hours. You can't be doing this crap in selling time. It's got to be after hours.
Mm-hmm.
But what they can do is they can curate content. So they can go and find the people out there in social that their customers really rate, right? So don't publish stuff that's of interest to you. Publish stuff that's of interest to your market, and what you want is your audience or your market to see you as that hub of amazing content. You want them thinking, I don't have time to get on social every day for hours and find stuff, but man, if I just follow Jeffrey Gitomer, he finds all the great stuff for me. If I just follow Jen, she finds this great content for me. I've just got to follow her. It's done.
There's obviously there's shortcuts you can take. Listen, we just took a poll of our audience, and 74% of the people totally loved you.
That's very funny.
Well, luckily for us, we were able to find you through your content on LinkedIn all the way across the globe. So thank you so much for sharing your
And
great
when we
content.
come to Australia, we're staying at your house. Is that okay?
That sounds awesome. I live in a place that's a little bit like the Ozarks. There's a lot of banjo playing, but I'm sure you guys will be fine.
Are there kangaroos in the backyard? Wait a minute. Set the whole picture. Are there kangaroos in the backyard?
Actually, I've got a cabin and a river just near Sydney where I wakeboard, and we've got kangaroos out there. So I'll take you wakeboarding with kangaroos. How's that?
It'll be my pleasure.
That sounds fabulous.
Okay, and you take care of yourself. Very nice to talk to you. We'll figure out a way to talk offline.
Yeah,
my people will call your people.
Thanks so much, Tony.
And I love your guys' show. I'll promote it to everyone I know. See
Oh,
you.
awesome.
Send it to both
Thank
your
you.
friends.
Yeah.
Send it to both your friends.